cash you have. I would say 30%, on average 30% of your portfolio I propose to be in cash, especially when market is overbought. And then portfolio drawdown. Portfolio drawdown, if on average 4 positions, right? Especially if you're new to trading stock options or you're new to Tradespoon and Yellow Tunnel, I would propose to have 4 positions and 2.5% of account value per position, right? If the stock is down, if your position is down 2.5% of, if you have $10,000 and 2.5% is $250, if your position is down $250, then you would exit, right? Because you don't know, will the 50-day moving average, will it hold, will it not hold? How much, will interest rates go up or down? So those are the most important rules. Being long and short the market at the same time, I think, is important, right? Not all position being long, at least one position to be short. And then there's other checklists, right? Weight trend has changed, right? And then once you go through that checklist, right, and you can see other items on this list, then you place a trade and then you grade yourself A and B. So let's see, how do we determine 2.5%? So after the CPI data, which came in a little bit harder than expected, we did have a pretty large move to the upside facing the 4.5. We talked about 4.3 and 4.5. I think as long as we're at 4.5, I think market is going to try it sideways, right? Down, up, down, up. But if we do break 450 and go to 460 for 5%, right? I think there's already talk about that we might see 5% this year in on the 10-year yield. Well, then then the sell-off will accelerate. So for now, I'm watching 4.5, right? Because well, next level is probably 470. So that's an important level. So yield is up, 10-year up, 2-year is at 5%, right? So it's basically on its way to retest. Potentially, if it breaks above 5, next level will be 520. The losses in the past week, which is also bearish for the market. And you see value stocks, QQQ, technology, semiconductors, spiders, all down. And interest-sensitive sectors like small caps, regional banks, and ARK Innovation down the most, right? High beta stocks are down the most. Okay, so let's say we do have earnings season, right? Delta Airlines started today. Actually, positive surprise. We have JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, BlackRock Group announcing earnings on Friday, which is majority of people anticipate a positive surprise. So the question is, where the support and resistance level and how people are positioning. So we're testing last week low, right? We're at 513, which is important level. Was pretty well positioned. So if this is support number 1, and that's where it looks like we're trading. The next one, and that's 513, 510 to me, that's the same level, right? So I would say 50-day moving average is 510, we're at 513. This is your support number 1, right? You want the 510 level for the bulls to hold, right? We haven't broken 50-day moving average since October lows, right? Since October lows, market has not broke through this uptrend, nor has it broken through the 50-day moving average. So it's important for bulls to hold on to this level. If that level is not, it is taken out, then you do have, I think, NVIDIA earnings, right, which is here. So around the gap is around 495, 500, right? So then the next level of support would be 500, right? 500 and 495, right? That's support number 2. Let's see how people are positioned. Let's refresh the data and see what has changed overnight. Cherry Blossom, Rosser, welcome back. Please type in any questions you have. Okay, so 50-day moving average, 510 is the first support, and then 500, 495, I think, is where the majority of the positioning in April and the May expiration. Let's see if it has changed. First spiders. All right, so we have April 19. So today and tomorrow, right? Today and tomorrow, 410, 411. We do have PPI data tomorrow as well. 515 and 510. So we do have 5,000. Then it's not big, but 510 is supported, right? 510. And then if we do break 510 and you go to April 19 and May 17th, 500, right? 500, we're talking about 60,000 then, a very large position at the 500 level. So, you know, unless things get a lot worse, I think 50-day moving average or 500 should hold, right? I mean, we do have PPI data, right? What can also divert the initial reaction. We do have Fed president giving speech, right, from different regions, Chicago, Atlanta, Boston, right? They could react to the. Oh no, that's tomorrow. Today is well, Michelle Bauman also speak, right? So we have Fed officials speaking, and then we have minutes from FOMC meeting, and then tomorrow we have core PPI, right? That also could be better than usually. If CPI is hotter than PPI is also going to come in a little bit hotter than expected. And then Friday we have earnings. So those are all the events that can push the market up and down. So let's say you basically say, you know what, 50-day moving average has been a good support since October. I think it will hold, right? 510. I would put a stop level, maybe the gap, right? The NVIDIA earnings. Right, if we drop below 500, right, 495, right, this is support number one, which could be today, right, and then support number two. So if you buy at 513, right, I would put a stop level, maybe 497, 495, right, below 500. So that would be what? Called 15 points. 15 points. $50. Then I propose not to risk more than 15 shares. And you go through your 4 positions with this calculation, and you know one position could be short, right? Whether it's PSQ, SH, or QQQ put spread. Okay. Any questions? We do have earnings. Let's manage earnings position. So I did do Delta Airline. Delta Airline had better than expected earnings. It was as high as 50 in pre-market, but after the CPI data, obviously it's pulling back. So the question is, now that it's flat, basically, that's not good for the butterfly. So 48.23, it's trading at 20 cents right now. Let's see if it can rebound. I mean, market is going to be volatile today. So usually I wait 15 minutes. It is rebounding, so that's good. So I did put in order to close at $1.20, but now it's trading at 30 cents. Right? It's trading at 30 cents. And again, the strike price that potentially can gravitate toward is 50. Right? We saw it yesterday that there is a very large positioning in 50 strike. Right, 50 strike was a very large position. So it could act as a kind of a magnet where it can get to 50 and stay there. So meanwhile, let's look. So now, the only thing that has meaningful value is the 50 call, right? The part of the butterfly. So instead of closing as a spread, I'm thinking about closing it, the short call. Long call, sorry, long call. The short call, it's trading at 5 cents. All right, let's look at the market. So 10-year yield is at close to 4.5, right? That's the session high. QQQ is at 430, down 1%, SAM is down 1%, and Spiders is down 1%. So off the session, rebounding from the session low. So we'll see how much it can rebound. Gold also, oil is okay. So copper, platinum also down. NVIDIA broke yesterday, so NVIDIA did break through I would watch NVIDIA. I think where NVIDIA is going is potentially where the rest of the market is going, but NVIDIA did break through the support. So I think it's March lows, right? So almost at March lows and at 50-day moving average. So it's important for NVIDIA to hold on to this 817 level. Again, 50-day. All right, Delta. 8:35. So we have 5 minutes candlestick. Usually you want to wait 15 minutes for bulls and bears to kind of hash it out. Right now you can close it for 25 cents. Let's see what's my cost basis on Delta Airline. So I paid 52 cents minus 17, about 30 cents. So at this point, maybe change it to 40 cents and try to break even. Maybe slight gain. Change it to 40 cents. Okay, so it's at 35 cents. Is that when you do them, then you're limited to these losses, right? 52 cents minus 17, the credits. Right, I broke it down into 2 spreads, debit spread and credit spread for puts and calls, right? So these are butterflies, was the middle strike. Was the idea that if it gravitates over 50, that would be good. Okay, it's 40 cents. So it's getting closer to 40 cents. Oh, I'm actually going to get filled. Okay. Yeah, so I got filled. Okay. So I think it can gravitate over 50, right? Because that's where the middle strike going to get beyond that. But at least that's the first stop, right? That's where majority of the position open interest is at 50. All right, so then now the risk is that Delta Airline could continue going to 52 strike because I still have 52 short call. Right, I do have 52 short call. It is hedged with 55 call, so I need to try to close 52 call now. Put it for 3 cents. Right, so 52 call, try to close for 3 cents. And ideally, by end of the day, I want to close it because PPI could be worse, better than expected tomorrow, and then you have rebound from the 50-day moving average. So that situation is also on the table. So I'm going to wait and see. Right? And Delta Airline, let's see, we're at 840. So we're gravitating toward 50 strike, right? And after our session, we did get to. So you can see these strikes are not randomly selected, right? There's some signs to it in terms of open interest. You do want to see that. Let me see mobile text. So let me send the alert to. All right. Any questions so far on Delta Airline? Okay. And Delta Airline, so we have 4 more minutes. Let's see how much is the short call. Okay, so it's at 3 cents. Okay, so getting close to being executed, the short call. Questions. Good morning, Faust. Bob, present. What's happened to PSQ? Well, PSQ in theory should be up, right? Based on the fact that market is down, right? So big jump in PSQ. So one way to catch is these inverse ETF, PSQ, SH, or QQQ put spreads. Right? QQQ put spread. Right? QQQ put spread should also provide hedge. Let's see, QQQ. I mean, it's at 50-day moving average, right? It's a 50-day moving average. It may or may not hold that level. Today's Wednesday. And so far, it has been a strong support. We can do the same thing we did last time, right? With the QQQ. The thought process is that the market is going to go only in 2 directions, right? You're trading it. 560. So it can only go two ways, right? After PPI, CPI, this support level will either will or will not hold, right? This is now we're talking about February lows, NVIDIA earnings. So this gap is NVIDIA earnings, and if we break through this gap and give up all of the earnings from NVIDIA, right, then we're heading to 420. We talked about this level. So my thought process may be close the QQQ put spread, and if I do see that 430 level doesn't hold, then re-enter the spread, right? Re-enter the put spread. Because tomorrow, if PPI is not as bad as now people fear, and you're approaching earnings, and on Friday we have, strong earnings like we had from Delta Airline, right? They said the economy is fine, people are flying, can't get tickets, they're expensive. So, we can have the same similar message from bank, JP Morgan, right? That, loan defaults are stable and, ample of liquidity, and, they're printing cash on all of the, balances. So that's possible. Then you have big rebound, right? So that's kind of, so let's put an order to close QQQ maybe before the end of the day. Let's try to do it at 580. By the end of the day, I'm going to try to get rid of it. 580. My thought process on the hedges. Because things are going to get a lot worse, or the 50-day moving average will hold. Right? We've been at this level throughout March, throughout April, and actually we've been at this level after NVIDIA earnings, basically, end of February. So that would be my thought process on the hedges. So see if I can capture another, another 50. So then the cost of the spread is getting smaller and smaller, and still provides decent hedge. All right, so that's QQQ, important level, 50-day moving average, Delta Airline, NVIDIA, right? I think it's all about NVIDIA for the most part, if I have to guess, right? We do have to hold the 50-day moving average on NVIDIA. Whether we will or will not, I guess time will tell. And it looks like it is gravitating toward, 50. Here it's 48.37. We're about to get filled, maybe 1 penny away from that short call. I think it's 5.3 at 5.60, so 5.80 could be the next. All right, so we're 15 minutes. So my thought process on Delta Airline now, it needs to hold this level. Right? It's been 15 minutes. 48.39. If it drops below 430 and 8.99, that's a problem. Potentially revisiting the 50 level, or close to 49.24. So let's see. NVIDIA is actually turning positive, right? And Micron is turning positive. So pullback could end a lot sooner than we anticipate. Okay. Any questions so far? Energy in China leaders today in sell-off. MRO down 1%. Still worth holding. I think. I own XLE, right? I think energy is going to continue going higher, right? Because the economy is stronger than expected. Doesn't look like there's any signs of recession. People are stubbornly high. This is all environment where energy should continue to go higher. Right? MRO is kind of moving vertically higher. So where would I start being worried about, crude oil? The breakout is around 82 level. 82, right? If we revisit 50-day moving average, then I think, I would be worried, right? If we retest 50-day moving average to 100. But 50-day moving average is about to cross 200-day moving average, usually a bullish sign. I think short-term, and we're approaching earnings, going to deliver decent earnings. So for now, as long as crude oil is above 50-day moving average, I think it makes sense to own. But again, but that doesn't matter what I think, right? You have to look at the numbers. If you have an MRO and you're down $250 on $10,000 account, I mean, I would exit, right? Because I mean, it could be a 28, right? It could be a 27, especially individual name that announcing earnings, in 3 weeks. So that would be my thought process. Good morning. We saw this correction coming. Yeah, I mean, we saw the correction coming. Let's see how long it is, right? Because NVIDIA is already positive. So NVIDIA held the 50-day moving average. That's good, right? That's good for NVIDIA. So that should put some buffer. And you see semiconductors are rebounding, and spiders are still down. You have pretty large movement in spiders, but if NVIDIA is not falling apart, probably market is not going to fall apart. So I would watch NVIDIA 50-day moving average. I would watch QQQ 50-day moving average, and I would watch 10-year above 450 and gets to 460, 470. I think you will have, jump in the VIX and sell-off. Right now, VIX is not breaking out, right? It's 17 is the print, the highest print. So I think for now, people are just digesting the numbers. Okay, Delta Airline. What is happening with Delta Airline? It's at 3 cents. And you can see kind of decay in the, I mean, Delta Airline hasn't really moved much, but the option is now 20 cents, right? So that is the time decay, right? If you do have out of the money options, or even at the money options, every hour, there's a big time decay, right? The volatility collapse after the earnings announcement, right? So now it's 20 cents. So you do have to kind of make a decision and decide, okay, will it break 50? Will it not break 50? Fed released its meeting minutes, so you could have more volatility today. Yes, Kevin, I think I did mention. So we do have a Fed, thank you for reminding. We do have a FOMC meeting minutes release, right? There could be some indication of what other participants in committee think, right, in terms of interest rate. But I think it dropped to almost 10% or 20% probability of rate cut in June. So it looks like June rate cut, at least as of right now, off the table. And now I think it's only 2 interest rate cuts this year. That's where the probabilities are. I mean, it's going to change, obviously, based on PPI and CPI data. But thank you for reminding me. Go to current national when market approaches, it's too late to buy put to hedge. And I believe 3 days out was one strike. Closing trade zone. Can you try to see if your platform would let you take a trade in web? Ian Web, I wanted to buy web call spread. Web call spread. Where is web? This question was about web. Great technologies. It doesn't have a lot of volume, so that could be an issue, right? 54,000 shares. Bull call spread, trade option, web. Yeah, doesn't look like it allows me to place a trade. Not sure. Maybe it doesn't have options. So there's no April 18. There is April 150 and live. No, it looks like you could. I mean, at least in Fidelity, it allows you to do it. So there's the April expiration. So you can do April 1, 51, 55. Very liquid. There's a very wide bid and ask spread. So that's the problem, with illiquid names, right? You basically have to potentially overpay for the spread. All right. Any other questions? So let's review. So I did trim Qualcomm, right? Let's see yesterday what else I did. So Qualcomm got filled half of the position. So I did get out of half of the position at 175.80. 175.80, maybe thinking about buying it back. And it's possible. Let's look at Qualcomm. And I did close Deere. Oh, that's Qualcomm. Trade was Qualcomm. All right, and Qualcomm. Wait for things to settle down, but as long as this uptrend is intact, and you see Meta turning positive and Nvidia turning positive, maybe it makes sense to buy Qualcomm. Buy it back, those shares that I closed. But for now, I'm just waiting. I still have a small position in Qualcomm. So do I still have the short call? Right now, the only risk is that short call that we have a rally. No, I got filled. Okay. So I'm out of Delta Airline, right? The short call got filled. So again, that's an example of butterfly, right? Even if it didn't get to the strike or got close to the strike, in this case, I think I'm actually made, maybe 5 cents. But again, 5 cents on the 40 cents investment, that makes sense. All right, but again, the risk that I can have is that. So that's Delta Airline. But the profit, the maximum gain could be, if it got to close to 52 strike, or at least stayed 50 and about 50. Let's see how's Delta Airline doing. 15 minutes. Still kind of looking for direction. Okay. What else? All right, 858 positions. Okay, so today I think it's down. So it is reacting to higher interest rates. So we'll see what the correlation looks like. NVO. So it looks like NVO is also closing the gap, turning positive. So a lot of stocks are already off their session lows. Qualcomm, I trimmed Qualcomm position, still have that position. We saw that. We'll try to close the QQQ put spread. Looks like 50-day moving average is providing a good support. For now, we'll see. I mean, still down 1%. So I would watch last week low, right? Last week low would be 434. That would actually go back to middle of March. So that's the level to watch. On QQQ. SH, you can hedge using QQQ put spread. You can hedge using SH or PSQ. Silver, right? Same, gold and silver are similar. This is the butterfly, right? Looks like silver also closing the gap. So silver is stable. Still have the butterfly. We talked about energy, so I'm still long XLE, either the stock or the spread. And same thing with XLF, either the cover call or spread. So long position at 41, and it's close to the 50-day moving average. It's going to be important. So looks like at least right 40 strike and 41. So it looks like this is 42 and 50. Sorry. Yeah, so 40 strike. So that's XLF and then XLE. I think we talk about XLE. It's trading at the upper range, kind of consolidating, so still very strong uptrend. Small caps, let's look at small caps. They did trade below 50-day moving average. They're retesting March lows. So very important support level on small caps, around 200 level. And I think also 198 was a pretty well supported level. So in terms of put buying, you do have pretty well supported levels. Right, 50-day moving average, IWM. Right, there's a lot of put buying at 195, 198 level. But it's pretty well supported, at least right now. Any questions? Thank you, Ian. Corrections are not, please. In some of these names, like banks, ARC, regional banks are all down. Small caps are down. Let's see what else. What else? Home builders. So home builders have a meaningful pullback, 50-day moving average, right? So a lot of these asset classes are basically retesting 50-day moving average. Materials also pulled back. VIX is at 16, so it's not breaking out. Industrials, right, approaching 50-day moving average. You have banks approaching 50-day moving average. If dollar is getting stronger, right, I would watch 105 level. If it does break above 105 level, right, if it goes to 106, 107, that will put pressure on the market. So tomorrow PPI data is important, right? If it comes in harder than expected, that could be that punch too, where the dollar could break above this level. I mean, a lot of DNQ breaking down, retesting 200-day moving average. REITs, right? Biotech has been weak. Everybody was bullish on XBI this year. It doesn't look like it's false break. Japan down 1.5%. Retesting 50-day moving average. G is actually turning positive. AT&T is down. Meta is turning positive. Microsoft is down. Amazon is down. Apple is down. Apple, I would watch Apple, I think. Apple is retesting October lows, right? So, and it's posting year-to-date lows. So Apple, I mean, still a $1 trillion company. So I would watch Apple, right? It's significantly below 50-day moving average, and if the October lows of last year doesn't hold well, next level would be 50% retracement would be 160. So it could quickly get to 160 on Apple. So I would watch Apple, and Nvidia looks like turning positive, so that's good. JP Morgan approaching earnings. Looks like Delta Airline is rebounding. Any questions? All right, 9:08. Let's see, Discord. Any questions on Discord? Mark, Cherry Blossom, Rosser, thank you for participating. Any questions on positions? Delta Airline, earnings season, PPI data tomorrow. All right, guys, I will see you tomorrow morning. Thank you, Discord. And then Google Flood, that's good. Okay. Down 0.5%. I mean, it's give up all of the gains since the press conference announced. I mean, it's still a weak rebound, right? I mean, we have to get above 515 level. And usually, let's see, what did the models say for today? So model predicted 519 by 513, okay? So it looks pretty accurate for now, right? So it looks like 513 level held, but it's still a pretty large gap. So we need to get above 515, I would say. Well, find more meaningful rebound. It's 910. But semiconductors have rebounded meaningfully, right? They're actually flat. So that's positive. Let's see any other breakdowns. Let's look at 1 day. Trading sideways, consolidating. QQQ is holding 50-day moving average. Trying at least. Let's see. Telecommunication is down significantly. Right, I guess losing ground. Yeah. Oh, Verizon actually did get to 43. So I see that, I closed the Verizon, but it did get to the strike price. Broke below 50-day moving average, so that's not good. Despite Delta Airlines earnings. Retail breaking down, so retail is below 50-day moving average. It's looking at the 2024 breakout, right? December highs, that's important. Consumer discretionary broke below 50-day moving average. So we have some, interest rate sensitive sectors like small caps, retail, consumer discretionary, they're out trading below 50-day moving average. Right, biotech, that's below 50-day moving average. So tomorrow and Friday is going to be important, right? PPI data, unemployment, meeting minutes today, PPI tomorrow, bunch of Fed speakers, and then more news on earnings front. Any questions? Gold and silver recovering. Let's see, gold. Yeah, gold is almost flat. Gold is almost flat. 10 years still at 450. So gold is resilient to rising. Wow, thank you. Have a great day. Joseph, thank you. Ernest, thank you. Intel, yeah, Intel has been under pressure, right? They announced that they're not making profit anytime soon, but that's an old story. VIX is 16, kind of still digesting all the news. There's sitting at the important level, QQQ sitting at important level, IWM retesting March lows. So all of these things make sense to kind of wait and see what happens. All right. Thank you, Bob. 9:13, almost 9:15. Scott, I got stuck in traffic. Just couldn't leave on time. So Scott will do the closing bell, and then I will see you guys tomorrow morning. In terms of earnings today, I'm not sure if there's any big earnings today. After close, there's nothing after close. And then tomorrow, we do have CarMax, Fastenal, and Constellation Brand. Not the most liquid names, but maybe Butterfly. If they're not liquid, then you can do Butterfly. So we do have STZ, Fastenal, and CarMax. All right. See you guys tomorrow morning. Thank you.